looking at the Higher Graphics Assignment 2019 of the speaker. This video is going to be part 2, which is the front casing. Now everything in regards to modelling this casing we should know from National 5. However, there will be a few things, for example, the radial array, that might be new to you. So we are going to use extrude to make our basic shape. We're going to use extrude subtract to remove the circles and the rectangles at the side. And we are going to use radial array to create the holes for the pins on the discs. So the first thing we're going to do is create a large rectangle to make the basic shape of the front casing. We can see on the plan that the overall length is 186, and from the end elevation we can see that the overall height is 96. So I'm going to go to Inventor and I'm going to start with New, make sure I'm on metric and standard millimetre. I'm going to start a 2D sketch and select the XY plane. Next, I'm going to go to rectangle and I'm going to drop down the menu so that I can select the 2-point center rectangle. This means that the rectangle will start drawing from the center point rather than a corner. So I'm going to select the green dot between the two axes and I'm going to type in my two sizes. So 186, press the tab key and then 96. So I've got 186 and 96. And there I have my larger rectangle. Now you can see on the rectangle that the corners have been chamfered. We know this because we can see the diagonal lines, but we also have the dimension 3 × 45. So that means that the chamfer is at 45 degrees and it is 3 millimeters. So I'm going to go to Inventor. I'm going to drop down to chamfer, change the distance to 3 millimeters, and I'm going to select each line so that it chamfers each edge. So the bottom and then the side and the top. So you can see now that each corner has been chamfered. So once that's done, we are going to finish the sketch and we're going to look at extruding it. So on the end elevation, we can see that the overall size is 13. So we're going to go to extrude and we're going to extrude it 13. Next, we can see that the object has been shelled and that it's hollow inside. The reason we know this is we've got lots of hidden detail around the edges, and we also have a wall thickness of 3 written at the bottom of the drawings. So I'm going to go back to my object. I'm going to select shell. I'm going to change the wall thickness to 3 and I'm going to remove the back of my object, like so. Next, we are going to look at putting the little squares around the edges, so we can see that we've got gaps here and here and throughout it. And we know the size of these because we can see on the end elevation that the thickness is 10 and that the height is 10 as well. So first thing I'm going to do is start a sketch on the top face. I'm going to use my rectangle tool Find in the middle, you can see the green dot. I'm going to put it on the back edge, and I'm going to make it 10 by 20. Now the reason we've made it 20 and not 10 is because it's going to be 10 inside our model, but because I've used the center rectangle and it's coming from the center point, we also need to leave 10 at the other side. So you can see here I have 20 by 10. I'm then going to finish that sketch, and I'm going to extrude subtract it. So I'm going to make sure it says cut, and I'm going to make the distance 100. What that has done is it has cut not only through the top, but also the bottom. I'm then going to do the same on one of the sides. So I'm going to start a sketch on one of the side surfaces. Again, I've got the yellow dot to show me the center, so I'm going to go onto the yellow dot and then use it to project onto the back of my model. I'm going to make it 20 by 10 and double checking that it's definitely on the back of it and not the front. Once I've done that, I'm going to finish the sketch. I'm going to extrude subtract. This time I'm going to extrude subtract 200 so that again it goes through my object. So when I'm looking at it from the back, it should go through. Now I can see that mine is accidentally kind of cut in to a part of my object. So I'm going to go back to the sketch. And I'm just going to double check that it is on center. So you can see here that my center is just slightly off the back line. So I'm going to change that to 0 and finish my sketch, and that should correct it. So I now have all 4 of the squares on the side sketched in. Next, we are going to look at the front 2 circles. So we can see here that we have the bigger circle at 60 millimeters and that the circles are 50 millimeters from the center of the rectangle. So I'm going to start a sketch on the face. I'm going to use the circle tool to draw a circle at 60, making sure that whilst it's on the line, it's not anchored to any points. I'm then going to dimension the center of that circle to the middle and make sure that that says 50. And again, do the exact same on the other side. So draw a circle to 60 and dimension the center to the center and make sure that is 50 so that we've got our 2 circles. We're then going to finish the sketch. I'm going to click extrude and make sure that I select both circles, changing the direction and pressing OK so that it cuts all the way through the rectangle and we're left with those spaces. Now the last thing that we need to do is the 2 sets of holes that are running around the 60 circle, just so that the pins of the speaker disc can fit in it. So these little pins here will fit into these holes when we come to constrain it. For this, we are going to use radial array. Now we know it's radial array because we can see that they have written the measurements for each circle around the 60 circle. So we've got a diameter of 3 with the pitch circle diameter of 66, and it repeats 6 times. So I'm going to start a sketch on the front of my model. And the first thing I'm going to do is set that PCD 66. So for this, I'm going to click the Project Geometry button, and I'm going to select one of my circles. I'm then going to take the circle tool, and using that center point, I'm going to draw a circle at 66. I'm then going to zoom in to my drawing, and on that line, I'm going to draw another circle at 3. So I've got a bigger circle at 66, and then for the smaller circle, I'm making sure that the center of the smaller circle is on that 66 line, and it is at 90 degrees from the center point, so it's right at the top. Once we do that, we're going to finish the sketch. I am going to extrude subtract that one circle, so I'm going to zoom in and make sure that the circle is selected. Go back the way and press OK. And now we are going to use radial array to go around the 60 circle. So the first thing I'm going to do is find circular in the pattern menu. So I'm going to click circular. I'm going to zoom in slightly so that when it says features, I can select my small circle. Just angle it slightly so that I can click the feature, like so. I'm then going to select the second arrow and where it says the axis for the rotation, and I'm going to select the 60 circle that I've previously sketched out, and I'm going to make sure that it has been repeated 6 times and press OK. And you can see here that I've got the first set of circles. Next, we're going to repeat the same stages as before on the other circle. So I'm going to start a sketch on the face. I'm going to project the geometry of the second circle. I'm going to draw a circle at 66. On that circle, I'm then going to sketch another circle at 3. And then finish the sketch. I'm then going to extrude the smaller circle back and press OK. And then using circular pattern, I'm going to select the smaller circle and for the rotation axis, I'm going to select my 60 circle and press OK. And there we should have our finalized front casing of the speaker. So what we can do is then go up to File, Save As, and save it into our OneDrive folder.